to 1834 Restoration House.
It is getting cold at night, and we're reaching the point where we need to do some work on this house to get it ready for winter.
I also want to show you the dress I finished and the material for the new dress I'm going to make.
This place has become a stereo amplifier parking lot, so we're going to show you what's happening with that. When we come back, we're going to get right into it.
Today's program is sponsored by the generous support of our patrons. Your support helps to further our historic preservation efforts. For more information, visit patreon.com/1834 Restoration House.
Y'all know that this is not a sewing channel, it's a restoration channel. But I did want to give you a quick update on my dress that I finished. I'm not sure if you can see it all, and the vest. Since we're living and working in a Victorian house to restore it, I thought it'd be fun to wear a dress once in a while. Now this vest, I've realized I don't like as much with this outfit. So I took this off and put a belt with it, and this works much better for me. And I can move around a lot easier. So with this vest, I made a skirt to go with it, and we'll use that later. The new dress I'm making out of this material, and I think it'll turn out really nice. And then I'll have two that I can work with while I'm restoring the house.
Well, like I said, this place has become a hospital for old tube amps, and I'm trying to bust some of these out of here. The one I was working on last week is already done and gone, and this is how it turned out. Well, here we are with amplifier number 2. I've replaced most of the parts in here, and it's a real mess right now. I mean, it's got wires and all kinds of stuff hanging out of here. It looks like a disaster, but believe me, when it's done, this thing is going to sound great.
Fall is certainly here. Wow, it is cool, and the leaves are everywhere, and it is beautiful.
It's quite a change of seasons. The other day I was driving around and I just admired all the fall colors that are really popping right now. It's not quite like New England fall colors, because those are incredible, but it wasn't too far behind. It was pretty amazing. But as you can see, the weather has changed. Things are getting colder, and we do need to do some weatherization on the house. Now, when I say weatherization, we're in the deep south. Cold is not cold in terms of, say, like you folks up in New York or New Hampshire, kind of cold, but it does get cold. It does get down around freezing, maybe a little below, but that's about it. We don't see any sub-zero temperatures here, probably never will. So we don't have to worry about our water systems, but this house has no insulation whatsoever. That means that the windows, even though they have storm windows on top of them, really let a lot of heat out. So we're going to go and insulate those right now, and we'll leave that on for the rest of the winter and take it off in spring.
These are our storm windows. As you can see, the historic window is on the inside, and it's kind of like having a double pane window, except they're not sealed. There is no gas between the two panes, so the air still gets through. Not as good as it would if it was just the historic window, but the storm window doesn't keep everything out. When we lived up in upstate New York, we put a lot of plastic, heavy-duty plastic on the inside, and saw a noticeable difference. Now you get sub-zero up there, and it was cold, but the plastic really did help. It helped a lot. It was a noticeable difference. Our radiators did not kick on nearly as often, and you could actually keep it warm enough that you didn't have to wear a coat in the house. As you know, historic houses don't have insulation, so it really helped. We're going to try that here, and it should help a lot with our heating bills.
Our windows are so tall that we're going to need an 8-foot ladder in order to do this. I'm inside the Victorian tool room. And this is the room that's going to have the biggest difference because the thermostat is on the wall right there, and that controls the heat for the entire house. And this room is not very warm. There's no furniture in here. There's nothing soft to absorb heat. And so we'll go ahead and do this one first. As you can see, these windows are much taller than I am, and I'm 6 feet tall. So we've got our 8-foot ladder here. Now, you and I have never seen these windows before, not even off camera. We have never pulled these curtains back to see what's underneath them. I can kind of see a little bit of wood here, but they've never been revealed. We're doing it right now for the first time. Now, first of all, I'm going to take these curtains and pull them out of the loops. I'm not sure what these loops are called, but I'm sure somebody will let me know. So let's go ahead and take out the other one. And I'm going to take that down.
Oh, could you assist?
What's wrong? Oh.
Thank you.
Sure, yeah. And now I'm going to take down the shade. This shade is actually an antique. Listen to this. Printed on it, well, first of all, it's made of cardboard. And printed on it, it says Shade Roller, Joanna Western Mills Company, Chicago 16, Illinois, by the William Volker and Company, Western Distributor. Those of you who are older will probably remember the term Chicago 16 and other terms like it because they didn't have zip codes back in those days, and that's how they could tell what area of the city something was in or where somebody lived. So this is positively antique, so I'm going to be very careful with it and take it down off of here. There you go. It looks like it's still in pretty decent shape. Okay, I'm seeing the window now for the first time. Look at this. It has a sash cord that's intact. 2 sash cords that are intact, which means that we might be able to open this window. No, it's stuck. But look at this beautiful window. Completely unrestored woodwork here. Let me get this ladder out of the way so you can see it better. This window frame here looks like it's been stripped. It's kind of blonde, kind of ratty looking a little bit. But this one up here, the top frame, that is the original Victorian woodwork, 122 years old, and it still has the original finish on it. See how dark and rich that is? That is absolutely beautiful. Well, here's the plastic. It turns out that Jeannie mistakenly bought the translucent stuff instead of the transparent stuff, but that's okay because we never go in this room anyway. When you buy a roll of plastic, if that roll of plastic is 3 feet wide, it's not really 3 feet wide. It's actually much wider than that. It's been folded up at the factory. So you got to find out what that is. In this case, it's 10 feet wide. So I measured the window and it was about 6.5 feet tall. Okay, well, that doesn't work too well. It turns out that it's 3 feet wide. Now I can get 3 of these pieces of plastic in one width. So that's 3 windows worth of plastic at 3 feet apiece equals 9, leaves you with 1 foot left over as waste. That's much better than wasting 4 feet. So that's what we're going to do. We've already cut out the first piece, and now I'm going to get some tape. This is a special cloth tape, and what's special about it is that it's made to come back off without leaving that horrible gummy residue that duct tape leaves. So I'll go ahead, pull out what I need. Just to make this easy on ourselves, I went ahead and taped up the top edge. And that's all we need at this point. Let's go in the room and go ahead and hang this up. I'm going to center this, and then I will tape it on like that. Now that it's pinned in place, I can go ahead and tape the edges. I taped up the other side, and now let's see if we can get the bottom. I want to have it folded out like that, and then I'll pull my tape out and pre-cut it, just because it's easier than trying to deal with an entire roll. So I'm going to let static electricity pull that plastic in, like that, and then press the tape down in position. Now we have one window that's completely plasticed over, which essentially gives us 3 panes of insulation. And now that the plastic is up on the window, let's go ahead and put the shade back on. This will give us a 4th layer of insulation. This shade, even though it's old, even though it's antique, is still not long enough to cover the entire window. It's time for a little bit of decadent indulgence here. This is one of the few fireplaces in the house that has never been restored. And just look at how beautiful this is. This is quarter sawn oak right here. You can see all the flecks in it. You get this nice antique applique here. This is a similar motif to what's on some other fireplaces in the house, although slightly different and larger. And then we have this egg and dart detail right here, which is really nice. And these here, I'm not sure exactly what these are called architecturally speaking, but they kind of resemble railroad tracks to me, maybe a picket fence or something. But here we have the ionic columns. The ionic columns are noted for their scroll work, and they have their origins in Greece a long time ago. Those people knew how to make a decent column. And it also has flutes here, which is really nice. While the mantelwork itself is really fabulous, the fireplace around is not. Most likely it had Victorian tile work here, and I don't know if it got broken, cracked, removed, or perhaps covered up. We just don't know. But we found shards of it out in the front yard that may have come from this fireplace or one of the others. But this here is a real mess. Somebody apparently just slathered something on here, and it really looks terrible. But one day we'll get to fix that. But look at this. Really nice cast iron surround here. It has a similar motif to this, which is probably why they chose it, so that it would go together. And here we have a scene that shows, looks like some elk, maybe. They have a really big rack on it. But the thing is, that is pressed steel. Now, the really good summer covers were made of cast iron. This one here, just pressed steel. As I look up inside here, I can see some ancient newspapers. That is really enticing. So one day, we'll pull that out together and have a look at it. Jeannie really wants her sewing room done. So we're back in here today doing a little bit of paint stripping, courtesy of the speed heater. Look how beautiful that just comes right off there. In a previous episode, I sharpened this tool, and it really makes a difference having sharp tools taking this paint off. Some of the more exotic ones I don't think I'm going to be able to sharpen, and I'll probably just end up replacing them. My tactic here today is to try to get off as much as possible with this tool and then go back and hit the fine details with another tool, because this one is sharp and it can pull a lot of paint off in a hurry. And one of the tricks to using this tool is to keep it moving, because you can put so much heat in there in such a short time, it's possible to burn the wood. And we don't want to burn the wood, so we'll keep it moving. A few episodes back, we talked about taking some seeds off the great magnolia tree and harvesting them and making them available to you guys so that you could grow your own great magnolia. Well, I have some bad news. When the hurricane came through this area, we picked up everything that wasn't nailed down. We brought it inside the house, including the magnolia seeds, which we then covered up. And, well, they all rotted. So there is nothing left of them we can use. So I'm sorry to say there won't be any magnolia seeds this year. We apologize for that. But next year, we'll try it again.
It's fall here right now, and you can see around me all the leaves are falling off of the trees. It's a cool day and it's feeling pretty good, but pretty soon, a couple of months, it's going to be bitter cold. And of all the trees, the camellia is going to start blooming flowers at that time, in the dead of winter. I love to see the flowers in the winter. This is gonna be so nice. I'm looking forward to that.
I've been thinking about this paintwork out here and how ratty it's become just in a short time. We painted this on Christmas Day last year and it looked beautiful, and now it doesn't look beautiful. So I'm wondering, can that be cleaned off? Is it simply dirt that I kicked up from mowing, or something more sinister? So I'm going to try a little bit of vinegar water here. I'll let that sit there for a minute. I'm also going to try some multi-surface cleaner in a different spot and let that sit, because I'm curious if that'll just wash right off. So let's see here. So there's the vinegar. There's definitely something on there that's coming off. Nasty. All right, let me just turn the cloth over and try the multi-surface cleaner. Yeah, that's coming off too. But what is it? The multi-surface takes it off somewhat. Let me hit a little vinegar on there and see if that improves it any. It's getting better, but it's not really coming back to the beautiful look that it once had. So I don't know, maybe it needs pressure washing. But I can't imagine that in 6 months a paint job should look that bad. That's just not right. So we'll do some more research and find out what's going on here.
Several people have asked about our bathrooms, and let me tell you, there's nothing spectacular about them. This one is the main bathroom, and it is, well, essentially from the 1960s or so. But it is what it is. We do have another half bath, and we'll show you that one. And this is the half bath. It's underneath the stairs. And there it is. Not a whole lot to it, but it does have some beautiful woodwork in there. And look at that toilet seat. The toilet seat's a pretty one. And the ceiling has beadboard on it, and it's a beautiful color.
Thank you so much for stopping by today. We hope you enjoyed this fall edition of 1834 Restoration House.
If you like it, please subscribe, hit the like button, and do leave comments. We love to hear comments.